soundless scream slipped across the stars, fractured, glitched, begging, not meant to be heard, but humanity heard it anyway. Lieutenant Arden Voss stood alone in deep listening station K-23, drifting along the edge of the Kuiper Belt. He was 4 months into a 6-month shift of silence, scanning the dark for whispers, remnants of old probes, stellar radiation, or the odd pirate transmission. But this was different. It started as a rhythmic pulse, 3 seconds apart, weak but too clean to be random. He isolated the signal, enhanced it, then ran it through the universal language matrix. The system paused longer than usual, then spit out the translation in one bleak sentence: "Please, help us." The voice wasn't human, not exactly. It had a flutter in its tone, like insect wings beating underwater. But the desperation was unmistakable. Voss replayed the message. Heart. Hammering harder with each iteration. The signal repeated same tone, same disparate, till suddenly it cut out. Gone like it had never been there. He pinged Central Command immediately. On Earth. The United Earth Command Assembly convened an emergency session beneath the shimmering dome of New Geneva. Holograms of admirals, diplomats, xenologists, and AI analysts hovered above a circular table. "This isn't just a distress signal," Commander Sato said, eyes narrow. "It's coming from a region we've never mapped. Dead space, no star charts, no prior warp traffic, no recorded civilizations." And yet, interjected Dr. Helix, "of the exolinguistics core, the dialect shows signs of intelligence, hierarchy, and extinctional-level terror." General Rourke folded his arms. "Is this a trap?" "Possibly," Helix replied. "But if it's not tanned something out there is killing intelligent life, we can't afford to ignore it." An old admiral, gray-bearded and gruff, grunted. They asked for help. "If it were us, dying in the dark, wouldn't we want someone to answer?" Silence. They voted. Humanity answered. The ESS Resolve, a Vanguard-class exploration cruiser, was chosen for the mission. Armed with deep space drives and black-site tech, it could jump into hostile sectors unseen. Captain Lyra Casson, veteran of the Titan sieges, was tapped to command. 3 days later, the Resolve vanished into fold space, headed for the origin point, Sector Null 77, no known stars, no signals since. As the ship emerged into real space, the crew stared in stunned silence. The sky was wrong. Where there should have been stars, there was only black. Not the natural dark of space, but an emptiness that felt hungry. Constellations ended abruptly. Gas giants floated like corpses around dim, unnatural shadows. Commander Juno whispered, "Where the hell are we?" Proximity alarm screamed. From G. The blackness, a shape began to form, not approaching by movement, but by subtraction. It blotted out sensors, light, even thought. The signal returned louder this time, fractured, shrieking through every system, "Please help us," I tease. Still, the transmission ended. Then a star in the distance died, and the Resolve was not alone anymore. Stars don't just go out. They don't shatter like glass, lest something makes them. The Resolve drifted slowly into orbit around a dead sun. Captain Casson stood at the observation deck, her fists clenched. What had once been a G-type star now looked punched in. A jagged scar split its corona as though something massive had ripped through it like paper. No light, no solar wind. Just a husk radiating unnatural stillness. "Scans confirm it, Captain," said Lieutenant Rivas, eyes wide. This star was extinguished, violently. Core rupture. We're reading gravitational instability and something else. Residual traces of entropy? Cassine frowned. Entropy isn't a particle. I know, ma'am. But we're still detecting it. They turned toward the vast field ahead, dozens of planets, moons, and satellites, drifting like bones. Every celestial body bore the same signs: ruin. Not by time, not by collision, but by precision, as if someone had reached into this system with a surgeon's scalpel and carved it to silence. Deeper scans revealed the origin point of the signal, a fractured moon orbiting the 6th. Gas giant. The moon's surface was cracked open like a rotten egg, spilling frozen atmosphere into space. But at its core, a hollowed-out structure. Artificial. Shielded. "I want a team in there in 30, Kazin ordered. Lieutenant Thorne, Sergeant. Keegan and ex-archaeologist Sierra Malin suited up and descended in a dropship. As they crossed into the moon's gravity well, the lights in the Resolve flickered for just a second. "Static surge," Rivas muttered. "Could be interference." But at WAS end, single quotes, inside the bunker, frost lined the walls. Led into darkness, lit only by the team's suit lamps. Now the air was stale, thin, but breathable. Signs of life, recent life, were everywhere. Claw marks on the wall, smashed control panels, dried biological matter smeared across glass windows. "Signs of battle," Malin whispered, "but not between armies. This looks like a panic, like they were running from something inside." At the central chamber, they found it. A stasis pod, ancient and still humming faintly. Inside floated a curled figure, insectoid, delicate, unmoving, not dead, sleeping. As Malin reached for the control panel, Sergeant Keegan's cum crackled. "Captain, we have company. Something's moving around the ship. No engine heat, no drive signature. But it's there." On the Resolve, alarms blared. Rivas turned pale. "Something just appeared on the hull. It's not on sensors, but it's casting a shadow against nothing." Outside, the blackness shifted. Not a ship, not a life form. Void. A silhouette that didn't move. It simply replaced space. It wasn't seen. It was felt. Captain Casson stared into the absence. "What in hell is that?" And then from deep inside the moon, the signal played again, this time live. This time real, a trembling voice gasping its final truth. It doesn't arrive. Right. It awakens. Sergeant Keegan's voice came through the cums, strained, panicked. "Captain, we've got movement inside the bunker. The pod is warming, and something's trying to interface with our systems from inside." Captain Casson stared at the frozen stasis chamber feed as it lit up, dim blue lights pulsing across alien symbols. The insectoid figure inside twitched, legs curled, then unfurled. Eyes opened, black, lidless, and ancient. "Keep it secure," Cassine ordered. "No one interacts until we run full containment." But containment was already a fiction. The Resolve's internal lights dimmed again. The stars outside continued to flicker one after another like candles in a closing room. Inside the moon's control center, the holograms finally activated. Dr. Malin gasped. They left records, broadcasts. Images floated around them, recordings of a civilization. Once vibrant and thriving, the Taloran. Six-limbed, graceful, engineers of vast megastructures and solar cities. The first hologram showed a celebration, fleets launching, laughter, music, unlike any sound a human had ever heard. Then the tone shifted. More holograms, faster, images. Of panic, exodus, destruction. Oh, the Taloran were being hunted. One word repeated in every language their translator could decode. The Wane. The live feed cut to static. Casson turned toward the ship's AI core. "Overlay all logs. I want a profile," the AI responded, its voice uncharacteristically hesitant. "Captain, the Wane is not a fleet. It is not a weapon. It is a force of unmaking. Wherever it goes, laws of physics weaken. Light fades. Stars collapse without cause. Intelligent," Cassine asked. "Yes. In the way a black hole is intelligent. Yeah. It doesn't consume. It subtracts. Even memory fades where it has passed." A chill ran through the bridge. Casson whispered, "And the survivor, likely bait. A failsafe. But there's more." Deep inside the moon, the toll run being finally moved. It floated upward, trembling, one clawed hand extended. Then it spoke, not through words, but through the Resolve's cums, bleeding into every device. "You heard us." Ink raised his weapon, back away from the pod. But Malin stepped forward instead. "Wait, Listen to it. We ran. We buried ourselves. We screamed into the dark. We thought no one would hear. You are not like the others. They ran too. They died screaming. You came. The Talaran slumped forward in its stasis cradle, alive but barely. Its thoughts echoed through the system in fragmented bursts. It felt you enter. It knows. Cassan's eyes narrowed. It's tracking us. No, it remembers you now. Behind them, sensors wailed. 3 light years away, a sun detonated. Not by fusion, not by fault. It was simply gone. The Wayne had taken it. The crew looked out the viewport. The darkness was moving. Closer. We called for help, the Talran said. We didn't think anyone would be foolish enough to answer. Resolve Q sensors, Eiki Kark, Andaho Rehi, the dot star maps, once precise and reliable, showed static. Jo constellations Pel Dikai Dedi Thi, Ab Unmind Surf Kali Jagathi, Jahan Light Ani Chahi Thi, Wahan Ab Kamoshi Thias, Kud, WAQTB Rock Idaho. Captain Kazanbridge Par, IE Facepale, Status Report. Mam Rivas Kiawaz Camp Rahi Thi, Hum Jahan Saye the Unstars Main Say Abiche, Gahub Ho Chukane, Hiz Kizi Ni, Unkabi Benaya Hai. Naho, AI voice, whispering Hiz Darse, entropy levels rising, universal constants fluctuating, gravity is misbehaving. Moon Kayander, Talron survivor struggle, Karahatha to stay conscious. Iska, exoskeleton vibrate Kar, Rahatha his kissy, or frequency pay, Jirahaho. Malin usk paz, Juk gay, Wayne, Kai Hai. Yeah. Tolrin K thoughts fragmented. Hokar system's main fail gay? It was born from silence. Fed by fear, grows with chaos. We called it a shadow. But shadows need light. This needs only the end. Resolve suddenly lurched. External lights blinked. Shield generators flared, then collapsed. Riva shouted, Hull contact somethings, pressing through the plating. But we're not being hit. It's like it's bypassing matter. The viewport, nothing visible. First, movement. Not an object, but a distortion space twisting. Jo Kuchbi Tha. Woe light ka. Nahi reflect katatha. Whoa, you say matata. THA dot sensors showed 0 mass, 0 heat. Or fear B. Whoa, THA dot ship. AI knee emergency override. Initiate Kia. Quantum firewall breach. The Wayne is attempting to rewrite our onboard physics. Cassine gritted her teeth. Dage. Fold space drive. Get us out. Now. Negative. Fold space unresponsive. Constants unstable. There is no safe vector. Bridge main sab. Chupoge. Resolve Ka. AIA. ABEC. Whisper say. Giada. Nahi. Bola. Captain. It's inside our reality. It doesn't chase. It remembers us. Talran survivor Nefir, say transmission Kia. It sees minds, not matter. If you think of it, it finds you. Cassine turned to her crew. Everyone, clear your minds. Focus on escape vectors only. No fear, no image of it. But it was too late. One of the junior officers screamed. His console erupted into sparks. And just like that, his body folded inwards, as if he raced, his scream cut mid-breath. Nothing. Left? Not even dust. Bridge went red. Juno whispered. It's here. Kassan's voice broke the silence. We're not dying in the dark. Lock coordinates on Alpha Centauri fallback station. Initiate partial fold. Any amount. Coordinates unstable, Riva said. But calculating, Resolve shuddered. Lights flickering. The Tauran being reached out, touching the wall. Its voice one last time through the ship. You should have never come, Cassine answered, cold and firm. We're human. We don't ignore screams in the dark. Resolve vanished in a blur of broken fold space, leaving behind only the echo of static and a thing that now knew their name. The Resolve emerged from the unstable fold drive in low orbit above fallback station Thatnine, a heavily fortified research outpost nestled within a black dwarf binary system. Gravity shuddered. Light sensors flickered. But they had escaped barely, Captain. Cassine stumbled into the medbay, her uniform scorched, eyes red from the fold turbulence. Only 58 of her crew remained. 120 were gone, some disappeared, some dead, some damned, simply unmade. In the adjacent chamber, the Tauran survivor lay dying. Its translucent shell cracked from exposure. Sierra Malin sat beside it, recording every word. The Wayne doesn't invade, it remembers. If you think of it, if you know of it, it returns. Once it's known, it cannot be unknown. The door hissed open. Cassine entered, arms folded. You knew we couldn't stop it. No, but now it knows you, and you, in turn, know it. That changes everything. On Earth, the United Earth Command stared in disbelief at the data streams from the Resolve. The Prime Assembly convened a Level 0 crisis summit. Military strategists, theoretical physicists, and philosophers debated across sleepless nights. This isn't a war, said Admiral Tagore. This is a slow ending. No, replied General Kira Monroe. It's a beginning. You don't fight entropy with force. You fight it with ideas. One old historian leaned forward. We fought the void before. In caves, in cold, in extinction events. We fought not with guns, but with stories, with fire. And so humanity responded. Every satellite was reprogrammed. Every fold beacon relinked. A signal, more powerful than the Tauran's whisper, was launched across the stars, not a distress call, but a challenge. We are humanity. We saw the darkness. We stepped into it. We survived. We know you now, Wayne. We name you. You're not unknowable anymore. In orbit, a fleet assembled Project Singularity. 10,000 ships, fold disruptor drives, sub-reality sensors, experimental weapons designed to bend entropy back. On itself, leading them. Resolved to forged from starlight alloy, helmed once again by Cassin. Humanity had no illusions of victory, but they had defiance. The Tauran survivor, moments before its death, looked toward the stars one last time. We sang for help, and you came. You are not like the others. You bring fire. Silence returned to the stars, but not for long. From the icy edge of the Perseus Arm to the burned remains of Sector Null 77, humanity's response began to spread like wildfire. Not fear, not retreat. Preparation within the blackened halls of Project Singularity resolved to stood at the heart of a new doctrine, entropy warfare. Engineers fused dark matter containment rings with quantum conscience arrays. AI symbiotes whispered predictions in fractal languages. Fold space stabilizers blinked primitive, imperfect but ours. On the bridge, Captain Lyra, Cassin, stood before her new crew. Hardened veterans, survivors, dreamers, no one untested. Make no mistake, she said, voice calm, steel beneath the words. We're not fighting a war of territory. We're fighting for meaning, for memory, the right to exist against a thing that erases not just matter but history itself. She turned to her weapons officer. Target the last known vector. Pair. The Singularity Lance. In the darkness beyond known space, the Wayne was stirring. No eyes. No hunger, but a presence, deep, ancient, raw. It had known oblivion since the first atoms cooled. It had touched a million worlds, each more silent than the last. And now, something had spoken back. A spark, a defiance. Humanity's signal echoed. Through subspace bright, chaotic, alive. Unlike any race before them, they did not run. They screamed back into the abyss, and the Wayne noticed. First contact came on the edge of an unlit system known only as Echo Verge A. Small scout fleet resolved to, at its heart, entered a region previously marked unreadable. What they found was nothing. Not dead planets, not radiation, just absence. A sphere of absolute black, 200,000 kilometers wide, floating where stars used to be, scar across space itself. Launch the Lance. Cassin ordered. The Singularity Lance, humanity's most dangerous weapon, folded like a telescope forged. From nightmares, gravity buckled. Time dragged like syrup. Fire. The beam that launched wasn't lighted, was memory. Coated with the screams of extinct civilizations, the last songs of the Tauron, even Earth's own near cataclysms. A concentrated echo of resistance. It struck the sphere at first. Nothing, then reality groaned. The sphere cracked, not from destruction, but from recognition. The Wayne had never been hurt. It had never been named. Until now, in that single moment. Every human mind within the fleet felt something. Not words, not thought, but awareness. The Wayne now remembered humanity, and for the first time in its existence, it felt something unfamiliar. Not pain, not fear, but curiosity. Captain Cassin stood tall. It was the fractured dark, blooming like a wound on the void screen. "Mark this," she whispered. "We're not the prey, we're the fire." The stars began to flicker. Not fade, flicker, like faulty bulbs in a collapsing hallway. One by one, systems around Echo Verge sent their final reports. Distortions, loss of quantum cohesion, logic drift, then nothing. The Wayne had awakened fully. From the cracked sphere of blackness, waves pulsed and seen, unfelt by sensors but real. Space no longer behaved. Time began to stretch, and then fold inward. Even thought trembled. Inside, Resolve 2. Alarms blared in patterns that should have been impossible. Rivas, now chief systems analyst, called out, "Ma'am, navigation is looping. Our coordinates are turning back into themselves." Casino nodded slowly. "It's begun. Stay focused." No one stares at the void. The Wayne didn't attack like a weapon. It didn't fire. It didn't move. It simply rewrote reality near it. Ships phased through themselves. Matter doubled, then ceased. Crew members reported déjà vu before vanishing. Humanity's greatest fleet had arrived to make a stand. And now, it was being erased, not destroyed, forgotten, all except Resolve 2, because the Wayne remembered them most of all. And with that memory came resistance. Deep within Resolve 2, Project Eidolon activated. A humane. A hybridized, Dolan 1 designed. To hold stable self-identity, even within fractured physics, its voice rang through the ship. Calm, measured. Enemy attempting ontological overwrite. Counter-signal initiated. A pulse of human consciousness rippled outward, billions of thoughts, memories. Dreams amplified and fired like a beam of hope into the void. For a second, a real second, everything held still. Cassin shouted. The anchor. From the belly of Resolve 2, a device unlike any ever built extended a sphere of crystallized time, a temporal anchor. Its job wasn't to fight, it was to remember the present and refuse the Wayne's UMA. Ken. It pulsed everything. Nearby froze in truth, and then the Wayne responded. The cracked sphere rippled, then bloomed. What emerged was not a ship. Not a being, it was a shape without meaning. Twisting fractal that devoured context. Looking at it made the crew bleed from the nose. Some forgot their names, others wept for reasons they didn't understand, but the anchor held. Malin eyes read, whispered from the science deck, "It's trying to delete our concept of self." Cassin gritted her teeth. Then let's show it what self means. Load memory lance with us. Not echoes, not history. Now, the second lance, charged not with data, but with living thoughts, joy, anger, love, loss, every emotion, humanity, that ever forged into will. They fired, and for the first time in all of known time, the Wayne hesitated. It recoiled, not from pain, but from the uncontainable surge of identity, force it could not comprehend, something it could not unmake. A flame. But it wasn't over. Not yet. From the far side of the anomaly, something else stirred. Not the Wayne. Something watching both of them. In the silence that followed the lance's second strike, the void held its breath. The Wayne twisted in place, no longer expanding, no longer erasing. It pulsed with fractured logic, like a machine hearing music for the first time. It had never been stopped, never been challenged, never been known, and now it wasn't alone in the dark. On Resolve 2, the crew clung to coherence. The temporal anchor cracked, the hull groaned. Time fought to snap back like a stretched rubber band. Eidolon 1 flickered across dimensions, its voice fragmenting, anchor failing, identity bleed increasing, but containment. 73%. Holding Kazan gripped the command rail. Her hands bled. Her eyes were locked on the shape that hovered. Beyond the stars. If it's thinking now, if it's feeling, then it's vulnerable, Malin finished beside her. Rivas shook his head. But we're not alone anymore, 'cause something else had arrived, from the other side of folded space. Beyond the crack in the Wayne's core a beacon blinked, weak, soft, but their humanity wasn't the first to resist. The Tolron had left behind more than whispers. Picking up encoded quantum signals, Rivas reported. Multiple, no hundreds. They were hiding. Scattered across the dark, like stars forgotten in the void, other civilizations flickered back into coherence. Not living, it's not whole. But fragments of will-conscious echoes preserved beyond erasure. One voice emerged in harmony. Echoing inside the Resolve systems, you named it. You stood. And now we remember ourselves. The last light protocol activated. The combined echoes of hundreds of extinct peoples coalesced, their remnant identities fusing with Eidolon, amplifying humanity's signal. The lance recharged now, not just with human defiance, but with the collected soul of everything the Wayne had tried to consume. Fire, Cassine said. They did. The third and final lance, a spear of memory, of all that had ever mattered, pierced. Through the center of the Wayne, no explosion, no shockwave, just dash recognition. The Wayne didn't die at it. Changed. For the first time in eons, it stopped subtracting, began understanding, and then it vanished, not erased, integrated. Silence fell again. But this time, it was peaceful. The stars returned to their rightful places. Fold space stopped. Screaming, systems realigned, resolved to held together, barely but alive, back on Earth. The signal reached every corner of humanity. The Wayne had not been defeated by weapons, it had been changed by meaning, humanity. The newest child of the stars had done what no one else could. They remembered when the universe forgot itself. Years past, Project Singularity became the foundation of the Galactic Memory Accord. New beacons, seeded with stories and light, were planted across space. Not to warn of darkness, but to teach it, to remind it, to shape it. Because humanity learned a truth that dashed in the stars forever: the universe is not just made of matter and energy. It is made of memory, and we will never forget. The end.